and welcome to English 303, Section 1, that's Reading and Writing Arguments. I'm Dr. Tirrell, and I'll be your instructor this semester. The purpose of this video is to give you an introduction to the course website, which contains information about course policies, assignments, and due dates. You can see from the slide behind me that we'll be meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 in Morton, room 204. The website for the course also is printed there, but you should also receive that information from me in an email. It's also linked on Blackboard. It's also in the information for this video. So if you're watching this, you can go to YouTube and it's printed underneath there. It's important to note, speaking of Blackboard, that we really only use Blackboard for grades in this course, and that's it. So don't go to Blackboard expecting information. All we use that for is private access to your grades. Everything else is on the course website there. Okay, so let me change this and back out. So this is the course website. You can see there are some consistent features on every page. You've got the navigation bar up here with home, syllabus, assignments, calendar, and grades. And then over here on the right, we've got some information about the course, the title, the number and section, the meeting period, which again is Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9:30 to 10:45 in Morton 204. And then information about me, my name and email address, my office, which is Morton 161, and my hours, which are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 1, so basically after this course. If that doesn't work for you, you can schedule an individual appointment or just contact me by email. That works as well. I also can do video chat, so there are lots of ways to get a hold of me. This home page collects news and site updates. It's not unusual to go an entire semester without anything other than this welcome message. But if there are updates or changes to the schedule or anything like that, they will be posted here. The syllabus here, you know what a syllabus is. You'll want to read through this thoroughly. You'll do that on your own time. We're not going to pour over it right now. A couple of things to be aware of. You know, this is an argument course, so we will be addressing social and cultural issues, things that can be potentially sensitive. And, this course is the place to approach those issues and do so in a way that is inviting to everyone, right? So that we can engage ideas freely and civilly without excluding alternative perspectives, even things that are deeply held, right? I mean, if we're talking about ethical issues, you're probably going to have some things that you feel very strongly about, and others may feel in other ways, including contrary ways, right? So this is the class where we can discuss those things. I mean, it's part of what we're doing. So keeping that in mind, we do have to figure out structures, behaviors, so that that's possible. The class does reaffirm the Seahawk Respect Compact, essentially that everyone's a human being with equal dignity, right? So all people have particular rights and are accorded appropriate respect, right? That's really the main thing to take away from that. It's not like we're going to be, fighting all the time, but we will probably broach issues where people have very different perspectives, and this should be a place where we can discuss those things. You'll want to look through the policies here as well. One thing, of course, to point out, we do have 2 textbooks you'll want to get immediately, particularly the first one, which is The Shape of Reason. If you look at our calendar here, we actually kind of do one then the other. The Shape of Reason is what's called a rhetoric. It goes over sort of parts of argument and that kind of thing. So you'll certainly want to get that one right off the bat. You should probably go ahead and just get them both so you don't have to worry about it. America Now, it's in its 12th edition, or at least that's the one we're using. I don't think there's a newer one. It looks like this, but make sure to get the right one because, as I said, it's in its 12th. So there are a lot of others out there, and I think a new one comes basically every 2 years. And as it says here, it covers It's short material from recent periodicals. So that's where we look at issues. It covers issues, right? The Shape of Reason here goes over elements of rhetoric. So go ahead and get those as soon as possible. I don't care where you get them, the bookstore, Amazon, you can rent them from Chagger Vital Source or wherever. You just need the books. You'll also want to take a look at the other policies, personal tech and class and late work and the grade breakdown and everything like that. We're not going to go over it now. You can read it. But you do want to make sure you're familiar with them because we will sign a course contract indicating that you're going to abide by the policies as stated. There is one optional thing here. By default, you grant me permission to use your work anonymously for teaching and research purposes. What that means is showing student examples from previous semesters, right? That's teaching. And I never do that negatively. I never point out one so people can tear it apart. It's positive. We use them as models. And then research purposes, that a lot of times when we publish, we'll do it in the aggregate. So it'll be like, 80% of the students did this or made this choice or whatever. If for whatever reason you want to opt out of those, you can initial here when you turn in your contract. That's the gist of this, but do read through it. The next section here, assignments. You'll actually see at the bottom of the syllabus sort of how the grade breaks down, right? This is the entire thing. Engagement assignments, reading responses, and then we've got 2 analyses, a popular argument and an academic argument. You'll be analyzing those. And then 2 researched arguments. The assignments page breaks down what those are. So the engagement assignments, those are small things we need to do to keep the course moving and keep everyone on the same page, right? So workshops, submitting topic ideas, doing drafts, those kinds of things. And those are 1 or 2 points. There'll be a total of 10. So if you look at the calendar, it actually shows you all of those. The reading responses, those are brief written statements that you'll do outside of class, focused on our readings, both of our textbooks there. And they're necessary to prime class discussion because when we do these, you come into class essentially with these and then we talk about them. So, you kind of have to do it in order to participate because this is a very workshop and discussion heavy class. I mean, it's an argument class. There's 20 total points. Each one is worth 1. I think we actually do 21 of them, but you basically just get a freebie. Yeah, we have 21, but there's only 20 possible points, so there is a freebie in there if you do the math. And then you can see we've got sort of the main projects here. I've only linked the first one because I only post these as we do them so that people don't accidentally get into the wrong thing and get bad information or send something to the wrong place or whatever. But we'll take a look at this first one because we're going to jump into it right at the beginning. And it also gives you an overview of how this works, right? You can see we've got an overview section that tells you what we're going to be doing, a deliverables section. We've got an analysis for 20 points, and then a presentation for 5. So you can see the total point value there. This breaks it down further into exactly what's going to be included in that analysis, right? We've got some previous student examples you can take a look at as models. So that's essentially how these work, right? It gives us sort of all the information we need. It gives us previous student examples. This is a good example of, so this is from a previous period or previous class. This student obviously did not check. Please don't use it. Otherwise, I wouldn't include it here. That's the gist of that. The calendar page. Now, this is probably, it's certainly the one you're going to use the most. It's probably the most important page. I mean, syllabus is important because there's policies in there, but if you look at the calendar here, it breaks down everything we're going to be doing the entire semester. So even though this is a face-to-face class, we're going to see each other twice a week, this outlines exactly what we're going to be doing. If you ever have to miss a class or whatever, which you can do, you're an adult, you can see exactly what we covered. So you don't need to email me and ask, did we do anything important? In fact, never email anyone and ask that. It's kind of insulting. You can see here on the calendar, right, everything we're doing. Here's how it works. We've got 3 columns here. You can see the first day here, nothing's due, obviously, because how could it be? And then our agenda, what we're going to cover is an introduction to the course. On Tuesday the 28th, what you need to have done is read the first chapter of The Shape of Reason, completed this associated reading response, which is linked. That's the thing about the calendar, is everything's linked right there. You don't have to go anywhere. You just have to follow along and click. You need to watch this course introduction video, which you're doing, so you can check that one off. Obviously, there's no link because I'm doing it. And then you need to print and sign the course contract, right? So you need to do that stuff before that class period. That's what it means by do. Before, come into class with it. And then the agenda for that day, we're going to talk about that first chapter that you're going to read. The reading response 1 will prompt that because this is about that first chapter. So those work together. And then we're going to take a look at our first main project, the popular argument analysis. And we're going to go from there. You can kind of see how the class works, right? We've got the chapters of our first text, the rhetoric text. We're going to be doing corresponding analyses. We're going to be analyzing arguments. First, the popular one, and then an academic one. And then kind of in the hinge of the semesters here in the middle, where we turn to America Now, which is where we're going to be reading sections about issues. You can see it covers things like the role and meaning of language. It's particularly salient now when we're arguing about whether facts exist. Free speech, is it endangered on campus? You can see issues of race and diversity, guns, so different social and cultural issues. And then as we're doing those, we're going to be picking up with our researched arguments. We'll do 1 and then 2, and those actually are kind of related. And we'll talk about that more as it gets closer. Another thing you can see is that it's not like I'm going to give you the information and then kick you out of class and say, go do it. We go step by step. You can see we have drafts and revisions, and we do workshops and that kind of thing. So we move step by step. That's the gist of it. I did want to take a quick look here at this first reading response because we're going to be doing a lot of those. And we use forms, these kind of Google forms, pretty often. So one reason why I ask you to do this is just to make sure everyone is comfortable with it. One good thing is that you can't submit it without your name on it. It's got this little red star. That means it has to have data in there. But you can see from the instructions, it says select one of the following prompts pertaining to the Shape of Reason, Chapter 1. So you don't need to do them all. You just need to pick one. A couple of folks will still do them all. That's fine. There's no problem with that. But I'm only going to look at one. And respond in approximately 2 paragraphs. So you put your name. And I really suggest, I'd require it, except there's no way for me to actually force you to do it. Don't type directly into this. Use another program like Word and compose here, right? So I'll look at the different prompts here. Describe an experience in which you came to a clarification of your own thinking about a subject through writing, or describe a time when you discovered your own intention in a piece of writing after you had begun composing. What did you do as a result of this discovery? I'm going to pick one of those. I'm going to compose here. And then, of course, I'm going to save as I go, just in case there are any problems. As you know, being a UNCW student, the power blitzes here, usually at the end of the semester. So save as you go, and then just ultimately copy and paste it over. That way, you hit submit here and your screen freezes, or it just pulls up a blank white page and you don't know what's happened. If there's ever a problem, you're covered because you can just copy and paste it over again. Also, some folks, because when you submit it just says thank you, if you are unsure if it actually got through, you can always email me and I'll just check. Also, you can see on the grades page of our website, which actually it goes to Blackboard, but you'll be able to see whether or not a score has been recorded. And in the weird occasion that you didn't get a score, but you're sure you submitted one and you wrote it here and you saved it, then you've got a backup copy just in case any weirdness happens. So that's the gist of that. And you can see here, Tuesday the 28th, you'll be reading that chapter. You'll be doing that first reading response. You'll have to pick one prompt. You've already watched this video because you're doing it, and then print and sign the course contract there. that's the gist of how this works. This is a face-to-face class, so you know, we'll be talking about this stuff. It's not like an online section where this is all we've got. That's the gist of how the calendar works. And then the last tab here, grades. This just takes you to our Blackboard shell. As I say, the only thing in there is your grades. It gives you private access to your grades, but no other information is contained there. So that's it. We got the grades portion, we got the calendar, the assignments, the syllabus, and the home. That's it. There's not a ton of stuff there, but you'll want to look through here and familiarize yourself with it. Definitely want to look over those syllabus policies, just in case I don't think there's any curveballs in here, but just in case there's anything, we can certainly talk about it. And then, of course, the sidebar here is my contact info and the course info. Okay, let me switch back to this. There we are. So again, welcome to the course. I'm excited about it. This tends to be a really good course. It is one of those, you know, it's one of those ones you think of when you think of a college course, because we're going to be talking about social, political, cultural, ethical issues. If you can't do it here, where are you going to do it, right? Without people screaming at you or slotting you into some kind of category because of something you said, right? This is the place where you can talk about these things in an open, in a civil way, right? Where we can figure out what underpins our beliefs when we try and convince people of something, what is persuasive and what is not, right? What's the meaning of language, and how do you get people to accord with your perspective on things, right? So this is one of those courses. This is what you think of when you think of a college course. It's one of the things that makes a university what it is, right? Because outside of this environment, you don't have a lot of spaces to do this kind of stuff. So it's usually a really neat course. That's the gist of it. If you have any questions, you can always contact me by email. Otherwise, it is a face-to-face class, so we'll see each other, you know, regularly in class. I think that's it. If you have any questions, you can contact me. Otherwise, get your books, certainly Shape of Reason, but probably just get them both so we don't run into any, you know, things where for some reason it's back-ordered and it takes a month or whatever and you get into a fix. Go ahead and get those, and I will see you in class. All right, bye.